going into dominating DocuSign. So has everybody used the DocuSign through command before?
Just once, but I want to get better at it.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a ton of big tools. Don, what were you looking to say there, buddy?
Oh, nothing. I was just.
You just muted yourself mid-sentence, I'm afraid.
That's what I was trying to do, is trying to mute, because we always have problems with my speakers doing whatever with you.
Fair enough. Good deal. Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. What you guys can expect today is we're going to go into opportunities, and I'm going to show you how to access the DocuSign room from opportunities. And then we're pretty much going to spend the rest of our time today in the DocuSign room going through some of the great details. DocuSign rooms with command will save you so much time, especially on your compliance piece. So if you're not a primary command user, you use another CRM or some other method, you're still going to get value out of this for your document compliance and whatnot. So anyway, we'll jump into it as always. If you click here in the corner, for those of you who don't know, it will expand the names here. So you don't have to memorize all the symbols. It's a neat little trick I like to point out every time because a lot of people don't know. And we also are going to be working out of Brian Verhey and not my business of Tri-Town Home Group, because I don't want to mess up my numbers. So in our opportunities today, I created a new buyer opportunity. I called them Buyer 1, and that's specifically for this class. So we're going to be in good shape. And when you click here to go into the opportunity, you're presented with this main screen here. And all this information is going to go ahead and sync right along with DocuSign when you create the room. So for those of you who use command primarily for your documents and not much else, this is where you're going to wind up starting here. Is the document screen should look pretty familiar. And for now, we're just going to do a checklist type of regular residential. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the checklist today, just, a quick thing after splitting the document that I have, for example. So once you're in here, you're going to hit start a transaction, and this is what kicks you out to the DocuSign room. And of course, we log in here. You should be connected with an @kw.com email address. If you're using a different email address, you're not going to be able to use all the DocuSign room features. So here we are. It creates a DocuSign room just for that opportunity. And some things to go over real quick. If we hop into details, you can see that everything I had in there synced over here. And it should always show your MCA's name as created by. That used to make me feel like, wait, what the deuce? But it is what it is. So the DocuSign room is linked to the opportunity that we created it from. And so anything we do here will sync back there. So let's say you have a lot more of the information here. We can click edit and edit our information here. So let's say that they're purchasing 123 Awesome Street because everyone buys 123 Main Street for some reason. And let's say that is in Bend, Oregon, because, well, actually, I'm going to go Washington City. I don't want to risk messing up anything. I'm not licensed in Bend. I could confuse command. I wonder if I could. We'll say Spokane, Washington for now, right? And we put all this information in here. Is just another place where you can input it. So if you're not wanting to work in command, you can put all the information in here. So we put the offer details. We'll say it was created then, earnest money amount. And basically, I'm just throwing stuff in there so we can sync it over. We put all that information in here, and down here at the bottom is a save button. Pretty basic stuff so far, but it's fun to be able to go and see how that information syncs. So if we click back to command, we go to the details, and we sync the transaction. It will update it, and it will put in all that information that we just created in the DocuSign room. So are there questions so far on that one? I know that's quick and basic, but I wanted to just kind of touch base on that one.
The reason I'm taking this class is because my business is picking up, so I need to get really good at this process right here. Mm-hmm. What I've been doing is, going to it's like a zip forms DocuSign kind of thing where I write the contract. Well, first I have to get the contract itself, the blank one, to write, and then I go to DocuSign, but this is a different approach.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I'm going to actually demo that in just a little bit here.
Okay.
I actually write my contracts in zip forms, and then I pull them into here for keeping in command and to keep it in signature.
Okay.
And it saves me a lot of time by auto-filling signatures. Now, do you use zip forms there, or do you use DocuSign forms?
Sort of both. Aren't they connected?
Well, DocuSign forms is a different library where your market center would have to upload forms. So, for example, my market center doesn't have that because we have zip forms.
Okay.
Also, we're dealing with different forms as well because we're in different states.
Okay.
So, going in here to documents, and I'll go ahead and actually get to that part right now.
Okay.
This is a part where if you're using it primarily to do your documents in command, this is where we're going to be able to save you a bunch of time. And what we have here is we have our room documents, and this is always going to be the dumping ground that everything goes into whenever you upload a document into command. So a couple different bits here is if you're going to go ahead and add from your computer, you can add any PDF from your computer, go right here into the room documents. And so that's most useful if you are doing a transaction and you get mutual acceptance emailed to you from the other side. You can just upload it right here. Now, something I like to do before I add a whole bunch of stuff is I'm going to come here to actions and I'm going to add a folder. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can keep things organized because everything will be dumped into room documents no matter what. And we're going to be adding documents from a lot of different ways here. And we need to be able to organize those documents so we don't lose everything in the clutter. So I'll do contract documents up there. And then in this case, since I'm coming from a buyer's perspective, we can go ahead and add a folder here and we can call this communication. Now, if it's a listing one, I will also have a folder called listing documents. So let's say this here is a communication document. Turns out it's actually my 2020 tax return because it's just the first thing there. So we're not going to be opening that. I can click and drag this to communication documents, and that's where that's going to wind up living, thus clearing it out of the room documents, which is kind of the upload folder. So any questions on that, on creating the folders there for organization in here? Good stuff. Andrew, you following along? You look like you're having a good snack over there.
I am. It's lunchtime. So
good deal.
I'll let you know.
Perfect. And just for you, those of you who haven't taken class with me before, I'm definitely all good if you chime in when you have a question too. I like to be mastermindy as much as possible. What's up, Doug or Don?
This will automatically upload from command into
no, not automatically from command. It will sync with command, but you have to upload contracts here to manage them.
Okay.
Yep. So the next bit here, and I know we're in a buyer opportunity, but I want to cover if you're writing a contract. And Doug, I think this goes down to the avenue that you're most interested in. If you come here to add, you can add documents from either your computer, DocuSign forms, or zip forms. Now, for those of us that are using zip forms, I can go ahead and click here on the zip forms. And what it's going to do is I'm going to be able to link the rooms here. And you know what? I have the room I was going to use as an example was already linked, but that's okay. I can now also create a room. We're going to call this 123 Awesome Street as a purchase. And then we can create a zip forms room here. And then we can add documents from zip forms directly. So the link transaction, which I just created, has nothing in there. So we can do the zip forms library. And we can add anything from the zip forms libraries here. So in this case, we're going to go to the Washington statewide forms library. And I'm just going to add a Form 21 purchase and sale agreement. So that's going to be an alphabetical order, of course. So we're going to go down to R for residential. And of course, if you're using zip forms for Oregon, it's going to be whatever your forms are named. We can add this in here and we can actually write the contract right from here because it's been added into room documents. And we can come in and do it this way if we so choose. And it's going to access the zip forms room, and we can write on the contract here. I personally have still found it faster to write the contract. So see, we did that. We're going to hit save. We're going to close it, and then we're going to go ahead and continue back in here. That's one integration. I still find it faster to write it in zip forms ahead of time. And then when I go up here and I go to add from zip forms, I will have an option to select the room that I wrote and pre-made in zip forms. Whatever works best for you and your business is what I recommend. So in this case, we have this purchase and sale agreement, and let's say we've written it and we're ready for signatures. So because it's a ZFX type, what we can do now is we can right click on this and we can create an envelope. This is a signature envelope. And this is where it's going to get to be a big time save. And this is why I imported from zip forms into here when I look to use it. So we're going to come in here and we're going to have all our documents here, and we can add PDFs if need be. Please note that adding a PDF in here, so associated documents or whatever, does not mean that we're going to be able to have it's not going to be able to have the pre-tagged roles auto signature there because it's not the right file type. It has to be a zip forms or DocuSign file type. But for the ones that are ZFX or DocuSign forms, we can come here and click add recipient and go pre-tagged roles. And what this is going to do is it's going to tell us this person is in this role, this person is in that role. And because it understands what the form is, it's going to put the signatures in place for us. So we're going to go with buyer 1 and buyer 2. And the recipient is going to be, we're going to go with buyer 1. And buyer 2, we're going to say, let's say you created the room and you didn't have the spouse's information there. So we're going to go buyer agent to define. And we're going to add those selected roles here. And you can see that it's pre-filling in here the roles here. And we're going to actually take buyer agent out. And we have signing order of 1 and 2. Does everyone know what signing order on a DocuSign indicates?
Left and right on the contract?
No. So actually, if you have the signing order, if you have 1 and 2 like this, it's going to send it to this person first, and this person will not get it until this person is signed.
I see.
So a great use for this is, I know Oregon's one of the states, and there's a few forms in Washington that you need to have a broker signature on it. So you could put your broker in here as signer number 1. And then once your broker signs it, it will then go out to the number 2 and 2 people, so on and so forth. So that way it gets reviewed prior to. So like if you're a new agent, you want it reviewed. Let's say, Dawn, you wrote a contract and you want me to take a look at it before your client sign it. But then if it's good, you want it to be able to just go right on. You put me in as signer 1, I'd review the contract, sign off on it, and then it would go to your clients. So if it's just going straight to your clients, though, you can change them both to signing order number 1, and they will receive it simultaneously as you would expect if you just went to the DocuSign.net login. Now we see here that this is blank because we said the buyer's agents to define. So we're just going to fill in. We're just going to say it's me, Brian at tritownhomegroup.com. We go in there, and this is where the time save really comes in for anyone who's used DocuSign the traditional way. It's going to go ahead and put all the signatures for these predefined roles where they go. All you do is scroll down and make sure it's good. So we wrote the contract, which is very blank. And these, again, are Washington forms. But you see here, the buyer signatures go here. Because we are using the predefined roles, the form has been told in advance where it goes. And we're able to see wherever they need to initial is already pre-filled in. All you have to do is make sure everything looks good and hit send, and it will go off to be sent. Which I'm going to go ahead and do, because while one of them is a fake email address, the other one is me. And I'll be able to show you how this looks when you're signing something. A word of caution, I kind of mentioned before, is it's not going to go out to or forms that are just PDFs that you add in. So you have, a disclosure or something that was uploaded to the MLS that you add in separately. That one, you're still going to have to go and use the tools to click initial, there, date, there, like anything else, because those are not pre-tagged roles that they don't understand. Additionally, you do have all your other tools right here. So if you need to add text, add a checkbox, all that stuff is still available to you right here, as well as your pre-filled tools, so your strike-throughs and all that good stuff. Still available to you here using this method. From there, we hit send, and the process proceeds like normal for your buyers or your clients. But for you, it gets a little bit different because it says, waiting for others, please DocuSign. And here you can click in here, and it doesn't have me as an agent, but if you're set up as an agent, you'd be able to just sign right here without having to go to your email. Any questions around that part of the process?
I think I got it.
Gotcha. And was that one of the things you were kind of looking for today, Doug?
Yeah, I see DocuSign becoming a very important part of this process. I need to get really good at it so I can just do it bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge part of the process.
Yeah.
So if we go ahead and we come back to our details here, or sorry, our documents here in this room, you'll see that it's here and it's waiting for it to be signed. When it comes back around, it will actually come back as a green form that says signed. Now, I'm obviously not able to do that. One of the email addresses is fake and this will never come back. I'm going to come back and cancel it. What you can do then is you can move this to contract documents and keep your room empty for the next thing. So any questions to this point, guys? Because I'm getting ready to kind of shift gears from signatures to splitting of documents. Jessica came off mute briefly. I didn't hear you say anything. I assume you were saying you were good. Please chime in if that's not correct. So moving on.
No, everything's good. Thank you, Brian.
Awesome. Moving on. We have a signed around agreement. We're going to pretend that this purchase and sale agreement signed around, yay, mutual acceptance. At this point, you either have uploaded it to your room docs and moved it to your contract docs, or it was in here because you were the last agent to have signatures, that's up here signed, ready to go. But it is in one PDF form, and you need it to be split into multiple PDFs to assign to your command documents. What you're going to do is you're going to click on this here. And there's a couple ways to do it. I actually don't want to click on that. I want to right click on that. And you can come here to, it's not signed around, so I'm going to actually just upload another one real quick. When it's not signed around like that, and I'm realizing right now, it's going to not be ready to split because it's the wrong file type to split. But we'll just go in here and we'll pull up contract from Brian's business pass, right? And we'll upload this one here. So when it's either signed, which is green, or a PDF here, it'll be ready to be split. So let's go ahead here, and I'll actually split this in room doc so I can show you something else as well. We can right click on this one and we can select split. And this is what's going to be more common for your users that don't use command. Otherwise, they're going to upload their contracts to do compliance. Here, this is what the split screen looks like. We have to get each document type or addendum type on its own. Now, Oregon, I think, is probably a bit simpler because you guys kind of tend to have one form that controls it all, is my understanding. But, for those of us in Washington, we have quite a few things to split out. So we're going to come up here and we'll go PSA for purchase and sale agreement. Now you can name these addendums whatever you want. You can use form numbers. You can make up nicknames for yourself. It's going to be so you can recognize it to assign it where it needs to go. So Andrew, if you want to be like Webster's awesome contract, you can call it that as long as you know what you're going to put where. Really good opportunities to mess with Lindsay, by the way. Just saying.
Perfect.
Hey Brian,
yes.
How do you right click on a Mac?
I I don't know. I have never used a Mac laptop.
Okay.
Another option for you though is you can click this button here, and your options will also be up here. So you could you got delete, archive, download, create envelope,
Okay.
move, copy, and then if you click into it here, you can also come up to document actions and select split right here.
Okay.
But there has to be a way to right click. I know if you attach a mouse, you can right click using the mouse, but on their actual keypad, I'm not sure what their hotkey is for that.
I'll figure it out.
I think you can hold your control button and clicks on something and it does the same thing, Doug.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm a command master and I'm really good on PC, but Mac is my weak point. I admit.
Andrew, did you say the control button or the command button?
Control.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. So once you're in here and you have it named, a couple ways to do it. Now this is a purchase and sale agreement here, and we can just click the pages of the PSA to put that in there and click add document to move on to the next one. If you prefer to type and you know what you're looking at and you don't need to zoom in. Actually, this will be 5. This is the old version. And you don't have to like hover over here to know what it is. You can actually just go financing and then go 6 through 8 and type it all here using your tab keys and everything, right? Now, let's say a fun situation. You have a document that was scanned incorrectly. So page 10 actually belongs with page 14, and it just got scanned funky when the scanner was happening. This is where it gets fun. So we can just go mixed pages. And we can say, well, page 10 actually doesn't belong in this next thing. So we're going to go page 9. We're going to kind of go comma to skip it. And we'll go 11 through 12. And you'll be able to see how the highlighting, it skips 10. So then when you come back here, mixed pages 2, you can then go, okay, now we're at 10, comma 13 through 14. And then get that piece back together. So if the addendums are scanned out of order, you can piece them back together in this part where you're splitting and do it pretty quickly. With practice, I'm typically able to do my standard contract in about 2 or 3 minutes. I'll split up. In interest of teaching time, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save and let it do its thing. So as you see here in the room documents, it split out the PSA and the mixed pages and financing addendum I did, but it also kept the original intact. So if you need to just print the contract in one big form, you have the original still intact, but you also have everything split out, which I find to be pretty convenient. Now, you can also see in Room Docs, we have several things here, and it's pretty full. I always recommend keeping Room Docs clean. So something you can do here is you can click on the actions button and select all of them. You can come up here to the top and go move, and you're just going to want to select the destination for your active room, folder and current room, sorry. And then you're going to want to tell you which folder you want to go into, in this case, contract documents. In the same way, if you have multiple rooms and you scan something to the wrong room, you can actually move it here to an active room and choose a different room that you're working in to put it where it needs to go without having to go back and take it all out of command and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, we're going to go contract documents there, and we're going to move all those at one time. So questions to this point on the splitting and moving of documents and all that good stuff, or really anything?
Do you use this tool to combine, say if you like make a typo in the first page of the purchase and sale agreement and you sent it over for signatures and you get it all back? That's always fun, isn't it? Do you ever use this tool right here to just DocuSign the first page over and then combine them together again?
I personally don't see a need to combine it because you can send that to the other agent separately. So I've never done that, but you could. Because you need to split it apart anyway to assign to for your managing broker, for Ron, in your case, to overview.
Right.
So you
I just mean like
come in
taking
here.
the first page out and replacing it.
Oh, I mean, you could do that. You could you could split them off here, hit the little buttons in the corner, and then you could select combine right here. So it's totally capable of doing it. I just never have.
Gotcha.
But you just hit combine and then would put them together under a new document name. And we'll still keep the two originals. In fact, let's show you. Combine test. So you see those two there. They're successfully combined. We're refreshing. You can see now it goes down in the room documents as everything starts there. But here they are combined, and here's the originals there. So you still have the originals available.
Cool.
So from this point, once you have them split, they live in here. So you could close this, but we're coming back, so I'm not going to. But everything's synced. So we go under contract here, and we're attaching our files from DocuSign, and we can select all those split off documents to assign here for compliance, just as we need to. So that makes life a lot easier there and a lot faster for working on files. The next big thing that I like to show is moving over to people. If you are working with multiple people in here, people on your team or whatnot, or if you're working with an inspector that you want to have limited access, you can invite somebody to come into the DocuSign room and have access to the documents in this particular room. So it could be either from the address book, which is going to be your DocuSign address book. You could select from a directory of people, or you could just type their email, Andrew. I don't know if this is actually yours, but it's going to pull up here options. But just put an email here. So we'll just go andrew@kw.com. I know that's not actually yours. And then we could put, and see, it's going to try to identify the people here. But then we can just fill out this situation. So we'll just go with Andrew James and make it easy. I don't know who that is. And we can just say he's on the list side and I'm the buyer. And we want to give him vendor access right there. Or we can have him to be a client access as well. That way, these people can access the documents if you so choose. So if you're working with multiple people, or if you want your client to have access to things, you can invite them to the room and they'll get an email to join your DocuSign room. That does not give them access to change things, and it does not give them access to see documents in other rooms. So one of the more exciting features of DocuSign rooms that I really love is if you come over here to your inbox, you're actually able to see your DocuSign email and your DocuSign fax numbers. You can fax things to your DocuSign or email things to your DocuSign. Now, if I just come in here and I copy my DocuSign email here, I can just email directly to brian.verhey@mail.docusign.net, and I can email a test message and it will go into that inbox there, which in and of itself is pretty cool because then I can move it to the room I need to. However, if we go back to rooms here and we select the room we were just working in, which is this one here, you can see up here that we have a room ID, right? So if we copy this room ID and go back to our email, we can send an email to our DocuSign email and go room ID, and it's going to email it directly into that room. So let's say we have email communications from our client that we want to email in there to meet the rules of keeping contract communications. We can literally type whatever we need to in here. And by doing hashtag room number and hashtag PDF, that's going to go ahead and email this in a PDF form directly into that DocuSign room. So we hit send there, we come on in, and if we go to inbox, we should see that one I sent coming in here on its own anytime. And it does take a few minutes to come in because you're emailing to DocuSign, not to an email address. However, what we sent into the room, and again, it's probably not there yet. It takes a few minutes. Will come in here in documents and will be added down here in our room documents. So that's just going to take a few minutes to come through. And we'll just have to refresh and whatnot until it comes through. Here we go. It came through. Message from Brian Verhey, at kw.com into the room documents. And here is the gibberish in a PDF form that I sent over. So as you're keeping your client information, or you just need to send something over real quick and you don't want to bother uploading it, you can just put that email in there. This only works after you create the DocuSign room, obviously, because that's when it creates the room number right up here that you copied. That said, if you're working with a contract real quick and you just want to send it to DocuSign, you can just send it directly to that Brian Verhey at mail@docusign.net. It should come into the folder here. I must have had a typo because it didn't come in, but that's where it comes in. And that's really a lot of really good strength there with the DocuSign rooms and how you can leverage it. Coming back to rooms, you can see I can hop into any room and work on multiple files in one session without having to worry about hopping back into command. So if you're working on multiple contracts from your computer, you can come to rooms and you can come in here and start jumping around wherever you need to and working on multiple rooms to save time, knowing it will all sync back to its connected opportunity and command. So this is one we've been working today, but if I wanted to come work on Batcave Lane here, I can come in here and make changes in here, either in the details documents or wherever I need to, and it will reflect back into command when I need to. Likewise, I can come right back out to rooms and hop right back into this opportunity here. So really, fluxing on DocuSign really can save you a lot of time. And the biggest takeaways from this class today is the pre-tagged roles, inviting people to the rooms, emailing things to yourself so you can keep your contract communications and other items, and of course being able to meet your compliance through splitting things quickly instead of having to go save this PDF a million times. So we kind of rocked through it quickly due to lack of questions, but is there anything else you were hoping to see here that I could answer for you? Anything else that you'd like to know, or any questions you've been holding on to?
Feel good.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll hang around to for any feedback. I want to keep getting better at my teaching and presenting. So if you guys have anything you'd just like to let me know, any feedback you'd like to give, please email me. I'm going to put my email in chat for those of you who might not have it. And that is going to be brianverhey@kw.com.
Brian, I have a question.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been using zip forms and just using the e-sign portion that's built into zip forms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously linking with DocuSign. I don't think it's linking with rooms.docusign. Is that correct? I haven't really dove around the back end, but it's just going to DocuSign itself.
Yeah. If you have your DocuSign account connected and you're using that tool, that's just going to be the standard DocuSign. And you'd still need to upload it into rooms. And you also, using the cover sheet, you can simulate the pre-tagged roles, but I found the pre-tagged roles in the DocuSign rooms to be a better tool.
Gotcha. Okay.
Especially since you can get your associated documents and upload it into your DocuSign room and include it in that signature file instead of having to fight the way ZipForms does it.
Okay.
I got to go. Thanks a lot, Brian. That was a great class.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Hope to talk to you in the future.
Thank you.
So perfect. Yeah. But yeah, I prefer to use the DocuSign rooms. There's nothing wrong with the other tool. It just doesn't connect to command and all the other stuff. And I struggle to put in the associated docs that are already pre-done.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I was doing it this way before, and we kind of moved over just to do e-sign. And one thing it's simpler for us is because we're not using. We have Kelly White as our transactional coordinator, so she goes in and separates out stuff in Command
Yeah.
and creates, because I don't typically had to go create like an account in Command for the people that we're writing the contracts for. Just kind of picking your brain. It's I'm new to a lot of it myself, so you dive into it so much, but it's just interesting to see both sides. And
well, and I think the biggest help for you guys, considering you use Kelly and everything, and I know you're light on Command, will be setting up your DocuSign room email or going in and seeing what it is, and that way you can email your contract communications to the room, and that'll save you as they come in. And that'll save you time at the end, because really, state law, you're supposed to save all your communications.
Right. Yeah, and we do that. We go back and put it all in. But
yeah, but if you just forward it as it comes in from the email,
right to the room.
Yep.
Is that what you're doing? A lot of that? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
How you use that?
Any email communication that comes in, and what I do is once a week I will go through my active clients.
Yeah.
Take screenshots of the text messages, and then from my phone app, I will email them to that DocuSign room too. So they're all in there. And if there's an audit, which we're being our annual audit, not a punishment audit, but just the regular oversight, is starting to happen for Keller Williams Tri-Cities now, the state can go in and see that contract communication. Additionally, if there's ever a lawsuit, having that uploaded in DocuSign can save your tuchus, because you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, where is it?
Right, for sure. When you do your, not to go on a tangent, when you're doing your screenshots for your phone, are you just attaching all those as images to the email? Is that what you're saying? Then you send it over, or you put them on like a Word or Google Doc file, and
just as images. I can download and print them as need be.
Okay, you're just getting them all in one spot, putting them all there in one email, sending it, and you got it.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for being here for me, Brian. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, always happy to help. Jessica, Dawn, do you guys have any other questions? This class is pretty
where am I at?
I'm gonna take off, Brian. I gotta get going. Sorry, guys.
No problem. We'll see, Andrew.
When you email through your screenshot to your phone, you keep all that stuff separate on your Command, or?
So what I wind up doing is I put it into DocuSign, and then in Command in the contract communications folder, I'll say all contract communications are stored in the DocuSign room, because it's going to stay there indefinitely. But it's hard to get it all into one PDF for uploading there. So,
okay, so you separate it, or you put it all in one spot, then basically.
Yes.
In the DocuSign room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, good stuff.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Thank you guys, and of course, hit me up during my office hours if you have more questions. And we'll talk to y'all later.